is 8:30. We will call this morning's meeting to order. Looking for an approval of the agenda. We do have an agenda addition to replace a full-time position in the Child and Teen Checkup Adolescent Health Outreach with Kathy McKay.
Move to approve the agenda
We have a
with the addition.
motion to approve the agenda by Commissioner Gross with the addition.
Second.
And a second by Commissioner Haney. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Citizens to be heard. Are there any citizens wishing to speak on anything not on the agenda? Any citizens wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll move into the approval of payment of bills and vouchers. The server has been down here for the last 24 hours, so those were not able to come to us electronically. They are coming late, so I'm not sure what your wishes are.
I think we can approve the bill, so
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the
We have a
bill.
motion to approve the bills by Commissioner Gross
Second.
and a second by Commissioner Campbell. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. The minutes from July 10th, 2018 are presented.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Gross. The motion to approve the minutes
Second.
and a second by Commissioner Campbell. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Our next item is, Kathy, can we take your addition really quickly?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for letting us
Yes.
do the add-on.
Yes.
I have Leslie with me. She's in charge of this program, so if there's any questions in regards to this request, we're losing our adolescent health outreach person, so we're wanting to refill that. And the outreach funding covers all the expenses of that position, including the office, the rent, the entire position is funded. So
Okay.
we're requesting approval to refill that position. And if you have any questions specifically about the program, Leslie can certainly answer those.
Okay.
Move to approve.
A motion by Commissioner Gross to approve
Second.
and a second by Commissioner Campbell. Further discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, our next item is a reappointment of a manager to the Buffalo Red River Watershed District. Was Bruce coming a little early? Maybe not. All right.
No.
Before us, we do have the application for Mr. Jay Leach, who served on the board. We did also have an application of interest from Chuck Anderson as well. Typically, what we do is have the two applicants come up so we can have some discussion with you. Obviously, we know Dr. Leach, but Chuck, you're also welcome to come up and we can have a discussion with you. Good morning.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. So we do have a brief synopsis of your accolades and accomplishments, but if you want to just introduce yourselves to those that may be watching. Dr. Leach?
I'm Jay Leach. I'm retired from NDSU, where I spent about 35 years as a professor and the last 10 years as Dean of the College of Business. I'm a retired Naval Intelligence Officer. I was a scientific advisor to the Secretary of the Army for a while, mostly on Corps of Engineers projects. Probably a third of what I did at NDSU was water economics, water management. Another third was taxes. So I worked on mostly non-controversial issues, water and taxes. I've lived in Moorhead since 74. My wife and I have a small farm just east of Barnesville, and I've enjoyed the year plus that I've been on the Buffalo Red Watershed.
Wonderful. Chuck?
Yes, my name is Chuck Anderson. I've been farming for about 26 years. I have a ag engineering degree from NDSU. I've been doing appraisal work for 21 years, 15 in my own business. I got background as far as I've done appraisals for watershed districts over the years, Breckenridge Diversion, the Warren Diversion, East Grand Forks Diversion. I've done several WRP appraisals, worked with that. I've been involved in the watershed as far as projects. I have 2 projects that I've done with them already, and they're working on a 3rd right now on lands that I've had easements on, watershed flowage easements and stuff like that. So that's kind of a little background about myself.
Any other questions for the applicants? Commissioner Gross, do you have a question?
No,
Oh,
I'm right now.
okay. All right. Well, we do need to make an appointment or reappointment. There's one position available currently.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner.
I just would say thank you both for your continued interest and for your interest in this position. They're always difficult spots to fill, so it can be a thankless job for many times with the things you have to get involved with. So I appreciate that. I guess I would support Mr. Leach for continued service, since he's only been in that position for a long year and a half now. And I think people should have an opportunity to serve longer than that and to make a significant contribution. So I appreciate that, and I do appreciate your willingness to serve. Depending on where we are today, that you'll continue to have some interest. So.
Madam Chair.
Yep, Commissioner Campbell.
I agree with Commissioner Whalen. I really do think there's so many times when we have to look hard to find somebody to serve on that board, because it's as Commissioner Whalen said, it's a thankless job, and I commend you for wanting to do it, and I would, of course I'm one of 2 here, but I would still think that even if today isn't the day for you, that it's nice to know that we have somebody in the bank who's willing to work on this, because you seem qualified as well. But I guess I think, Jay, from my standpoint, I owe it to you too to give you more time to. It's hard to get a lot done in a year's time. So.
Well, I had significant discussions with Dr. Leach, but also Mr. Anderson. Chuck and I've known Chuck for a long, long time, and he really has worked on both sides of issues and relates really well to farmers. And I thought that I encouraged Chuck to apply. I thought he would be really an asset to that board, specifically in terms of the relationships that he could bring to the table and getting people to come work on different projects. And so, while I appreciate the work that Jay has done, I was hoping that Chuck would, one, apply, but also be interested in serving. So that's where I guess I stand on this.
I'd make the motion to reappoint Mr. Leach to the...
Okay, we have a motion to reappoint Dr. Leach by Commissioner Wayland,
I'll second.
and a second by Commissioner Campbell. Further discussion? Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Congratulations. Thank you, Chuck.
Chuck, they'll need you again sometime. So.
All right. Thanks.
All right, our next item is the recommendation to appoint the director of the West Central Regional Center. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair. He was just showing me the name on the envelope.
Anyway, good morning to all of you. It's kind of good to be here today.
You're still smiling.
I'm still smiling. Well, as you're well aware, but maybe not everybody that is watching this may not be aware, but you selected Steve Larson as your next county administrator, and with that, it vacates the director of the Juvenile Center, which is a very, very important job. Last Wednesday, you folks went through interviews to select a new director, and that committee that did review, because not all of you were able to make it, does have a recommendation to this full board, and that is of James O'Donnell, who is a supervisor over at the Juvenile Center right now. And he's kind of an interesting fellow. He graduated from high school in Warroad, Minnesota. He was in the military, in the Army from '03 to '06, serving in Iraq for, I think, 14 months, he said, from 2004 to 2005. He went in as a pipe fitter, and of course, what the Army does is tracks what you desire to do, so he ended up in an MP unit. And he did get a BS degree in psychology and criminal justice from Moorhead here. Went to work for the Juvenile Center in 2009, and has been a counselor, a lead, a supervisor. He's been the Counselor of the Year, 2010, 2012, 14, 16. And he also worked part-time at CCRI, so he's got a real good background. We were very, very impressed with him, and it's just gives me a lot of pride to share the committee's recommendation of James O'Donnell to the county board for consideration and appointment to the director of the Juvenile Center.
Wonderful. Any further discussion?
Well, I served on the committee, the interview committee, and we had 4 excellent candidates. I think any one of them would have been able to serve the county in that capacity, but Mr. O'Donnell stood out, and I think we'll be fortunate to have him in that position. So.
Further discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve Mr. O'Donnell.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gross
Second.
to appoint James O'Donnell, and a second by Commissioner Wayland. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Congratulations. All right, our next item is a request to fill the vacancy for the Board of Adjustment. We got to get you. Yeah.
Where does the memory go?
Right around the corner.
Madam Chair, we have a recommendation before you. I shouldn't say we have a recommendation, we have action for you to consider, and that is appointment to the Board of Adjustments. And you do have 2 names brought to you, and I know we did reach out to Israel Beer and Laura Johnson. Laura could not be here today. She's down attending to a grandchild, I think it was Arkansas, she told me. But she said she would be available for FaceTime if you so desired. Is Israel here?
Ezra
Oh,
is
there
here,
it is,
yep.
right there. Yeah, so I guess we have information about both of them, and one, Israel, was in your board packet, and I think, not sure if
Laura's is as well.
Laura did as well. Okay, she had that in the packet as well. So I think your chair knows them both personally,
Yes,
so
yes.
I'll turn it over to
Ezra, would you
guys.
like to come up, kind of follow the same format that we did earlier with the watershed? If you'd like to just, I know that Commissioner Gross and I know you and your family, but if you'd like to introduce yourself and
Good morning.
explain why you're interested, I suppose.
My name is Ezra Bear, and I'm interested in that position just to learn more on how the county operates and how it runs and how decisions are made. I'm 32 years old, and I am the chairman of Goose Prairie Township as of right now, and I'm a farmer north of Holly, between Holly and Ulen, closer to Hitterdall, but the address of Holly.
Okay. Any questions for Kristen? Also, Laura Johnson, an applicant, is also on the Elkton Township. She's a clerk for the Elkton Township, and I know their family for a long time. This is another case where we have two really great people that are applying for this position, and I hope in the future, as with Chuck Anderson, I hope that whoever is not selected today would continue to be involved and active going forward. You know, I personally, Ezra had reached out to me, I think it was March, and said that it was something that you were possibly interested in, and while I feel that Laura would be a great asset, you know, I did speak with you, and I would support appointing you to this board.
Madam Chair, I'll make the motion to appoint Mr. Bear to the Board of Adjustment.
We have a motion to appoint Mr. Bear.
Second.
And a second by Commissioner Haney. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Thank you
Ezra.
for your interest.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'm sorry to bring you back
Yep,
to
nope.
agenda item 3.
Okay.
Mr. McDonald was appointed. I don't believe the motion included backfill, and
Okay.
that might be necessary, so could we check with Commissioner Gross and Commissioner Whalen and the board to make sure that that was the intent of the vote?
I would like to include that in my motion.
Okay, revisiting Commissioner Gross's motion, a backfill would be included, as is Commissioner Whalen. That's not something we need to vote on, is it?
No, just to make sure there's a consensus, that was everybody's intention. It
Yep.
wasn't clear, and I just
Yep.
didn't want that to be a stumbling block going forward.
Thank you, Jenny.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anything else on that? All right, our next item is a recap of the 4-H programming at the Clay County Fair. We have Mitzi Marlin and her 4-H green team. I see her interns are here as well. Lily Kroom and Kate Harrington.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you guys?
Good. If you'd like to grab seats, we can all sit up here, then you can make it into the TV.
What do we got?
Mitzi, I am impressed that you have all of these people smiling after how hard you worked them during the Clay County Fair.
I know, they were really, really fun this year.
So
They're smiling because they're done. This kind of weird stuff. That's the new word for the
Yeah.
that's what you and Scott did that.
Yeah.
You did it together, didn't you? Yeah.
All right, good morning, guys.
Good morning. Okay, so with me this morning, I have our two Clay County interns, Lily Kroom and Kristen Harrington.
Oh, I introduced you as Kate. I'm sorry, Kristen.
That's okay. Did I say Kate?
I did. I said
Oh, okay.
Kate. I apologize.
I do mix them up, but hopefully
Yep.
not today. And then I also have our 3 ambassadors. We actually have 4 ambassadors, but 3 could make it this morning. Katie Swanson, Elizabeth Krause, and Micah Anderson. And I would see the 4-H program coordinator in Clay County. And we are just here this morning to talk a little bit about what has been going on in Clay County 4-H. A lot is going on this time of year. We just wrapped up the county fair just about a week ago. So we're still kind of like in recovery mode from that, but they all seem to be alive and smiling, so that's a good sign. And so I'm just gonna kind of have each of them talk, but before they get started, I'll just kind of talk a little bit about some of the highlights of the county fair this year. It was another great fair. We have, our animal barns are full. We had over 80 swine. That's a growing project that just keeps on growing. In our exhibit building, it was a full building of exhibits this year, and something that we added in new this year that was kind of fun and ended up being a success was a general exhibit silent auction. And that's something we haven't done before. And after the county fair last year, we got to thinking about the livestock market auction and how those livestock kids are given the opportunity to make a premium on their animals by selling the premium to local bidders that want to come and support the 4-H youth and their livestock. And we thought, well, why can't we do something like this with the general exhibit 4-Hers? And so we decided to do a silent auction this year and just see how that would go. And it would give them the opportunity to help us raise some money for the program and also raise some money to just take home from making a great project and kind of help pay themselves back for some of the materials that they use to make their projects. So we tried it this year, and we ended up raising a little over $500. And it was something that we promoted just a couple weeks before the fair, so it was a little bit of a last-minute win idea, but I think we'll try it again next year. And it gave 4-Hers also a learning experience on how to promote and market their projects for being bidded on at the fair. So that was kind of a fun little something new that we did this year. Also, we hired a food stand manager for our 4-H food stand.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. We pretty much only have heard good things about her, and a lot of what I've heard is that just the overall experience for all the families was a lot more positive. The opportunity for there to be more youth development in that program, it just went a lot smoother, and she was able to really help those families have a good learning experience and really get the most out of the food stand rather than just be little worker bees for a fundraiser. So they were really able to learn a lot and have a good time this year in the food stand. Any other questions about the county fair? I'm going to kind of let these guys talk because they are really involved in many of the other projects we had going on. So,
All right, who wants to speak first?
all right, we're other interns.
So I'm Lily, and I'm going to talk about our Summer Adventures program, in which we reach, I think it's like 230 youth throughout the county doing STEM programming. We're present in Holly, Barnesville, DGF, and we partner with more Parks programs, as well as the New American Group. This year our theme is Mysteries of Science, which kind of covers a broad base of different scientific disciplines. The other day we did some erosion activities. I think this week we're doing some engineering. And so it's a very broad spectrum, but we bring STEM programming to youth throughout the county. It's hands-on. We incorporate social and emotional learning through intentional games and activities.
Great.
I'm Kristen, and I'll be talking more about what Lily and I did, especially at the fair. So one of our biggest responsibilities was that we planned and implemented a day camp. And so we had Clay County 4-Hers there, as well as a group from Churches United. And one thing that really came out of that was that a family from Hawaii who happened to be at the fair joined our day camp, really enjoyed the intro to 4-H experience that we gave them. And they are now starting a club in their hometown in Hawaii. So that's a really cool impact that our day camp had. We also led a social media and tech team open to our 4-Hers that have completed the 6th grade, so kind of like a springboard opportunity to later on leadership chances that they might have. So through that, our youth were able to learn how to positively use social media, as well as work with youth and adults, different things like teamwork, and through our various social media platforms that we use, Instagram, Facebook, and we did have a Snapchat filter at the fair this year. Clay County 4-H reached over 12,000 people. So yeah. Any questions about what we've been up to this summer?
Question? All right, who's next?
Okay, I'm next. I'm Katie Swanson, and I've been an ambassador for going on about 4 years. It's my last year too. I want to be talking about what we have done as a lesson for ambassadors, and way back then when we first started and ambassadors up, we talked about diversity in 4-H and the differences of Clay County, Africa, and New York. Those were the main countries we touched base on. We first got introduced by posters around the room where Mitzi has us go to for different kind of meetings, and we guessed what could be taught in that kind of counties and so forth. So next we listened to movies about different counties, as in New York, Africa, and us, and we got to know more about Africa. Africa is more like about learning about food and being a role model because you don't get a lot of that. And New York is more showing about role models as well. And New York has more crime, as you know, and it's to have more of a family-based oriented kind of 4-H. And we have an upcoming event in 4-H, which we are planning still in the making, but hopefully in September, we're doing a 4-H Olympics. And it's just a fun team building games, and you get to compete, and it's a whole day of fun. And it's probably at the fairgrounds, and it's about recruiting more ambassadors for the upcoming year, and we're hoping to get 10 ambassadors, which is a pretty good thing.
Great, thank you.
And I'm Elizabeth Krause, and I'm also going to talk about some of the things that we've been doing. So one of the things we had at the fair was a popcorn, and it was a fundraiser selling popcorn and necklaces. And we sold the necklaces to fundraise for an educational trip at some time, and the popcorn was to raise money for the dog project. And I was part of it by selling popcorn in the stands at the demo derby, and that was really successful because the people bought the popcorn really, really fast. And that's one of the things that we do as ambassadors is we help other groups with their different activities. And we made $115 from the necklaces, but I don't know how much from the popcorn.
Okay.
And we also have a service project coming up that we're going to do sometime in August. We're going to help set up a picnic at the Holly Senior Living Center for families to enjoy time with their grandparents. So we're really looking forward to that one.
Yes, wonderful.
My name is Mike Anderson.
Good morning, Micah.
I'm one of the ambassadors in Clay County. I've been ambassador for 1 year. Ambassador represents leadership, working together, skills, and building up confidence, which really helps me in my club as my president.
Wonderful.
So, I'm really happy about that. One of our ambassador meetings was at Holly, one of the ranch called Horseland, and it just get experience knowing the horses and the horses knowing us, and it's really helped us. And we had a few activities, and one of the activities that we liked was we were also made 4 people on court about horses, and just like when the horse went around, each person was trying to keep up with the horse, and each person was like feeling different things. So when people around and we had the end of the experience, we asked what did you feel and what was better and different.
Okay.
And that was
Great. Wonderful experiences, guys. You have such great community outreach. And I can say from someone who has a bunch of rugrats running around the fair that thank you to all the leadership that you've shown the younger 4-Hers. It's really instrumental. I think it was, I don't want to date Kevin and I, but when Kevin's,
I go way farther back than you.
Kevin's son and I were on the ambassadors team. Kristen and Lily were little, smaller than my kids running around. And so maybe your experience running a meeting or being the president of your club will maybe inspire you to be chair of the county board someday. So thank you to how you represent our community, and we're really proud of you. Thank you. Commissioner Gross.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, being out there, several days to see you guys all out there, it's just great to see kids involved in things other than, there is life beyond basketball and baseball and volleyball, you know, it's just great to see all you kids out there involved in that stuff. I mean, not that you can't be involved in that basketball and all that stuff too, you know, but just to have other activities that you do your summers with, and well, all year long, but thank you so much for being part of that.
Thank you guys for having us, and thanks for coming out to the county fair and serving ice cream again.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Any
other questions? No? Thanks, guys. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Yeah. Our next item is a request for the approval for out-of-state travel. Kirk Rosenberger, good morning.
Good morning. Should I say something? This is number 3.
Doing good, Kirk.
Thank you much, thank you. Hey, I've got several that are still in mothballs, so there you are. Madam Chair, members of the board, it's good to see you. Before I get started on my presentation, I just want to note that it's Jenny, your last meeting, and I want to thank you for all the help you've given me over the years that I've been here. It's made my job a whole lot easier, and I certainly appreciate it. And then the big dog over here, Brian Berg, I want to thank you. I've thanked him numerous times. I mean, he's just been really, really solid. Great administrator and even a better person, which means a whole lot more to me than that. So, Brian, obviously, I'm going to miss you a lot, and I wish you best of luck in your next adventure. Now, as far as my request here, I'm requesting out-of-state travel permission. The request is for a conference down across Wisconsin, and the purpose of the workshop is to get a better understanding of how to apply for grants for brownfields. Brownfields basically are lands that are currently being used and potentially contaminated, and I think we have a lot of opportunity to take advantage of this particular program as we move forward. So that is the request. I should point out I will not be the one making the trip. It will be Skippy. Skippy is currently in South Korea. I'm starting to think he might be with the CIA, but apparently he has a girlfriend that he's kind of sweet on. So at any rate, but I think that it'll be really, really useful. I think it'll be a positive thing for the county.
Okay.
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Whalen to approve, a second by Commissioner Campbell. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, committee reports. Commissioner Campbell?
Okay, on Tuesday, the 17th, we had a correctional facility and LEC subcommittee meeting regarding the scheduling of events, and you're going to see all of that come out in about an hour.
Yes.
So the plan is done.
58 minutes.
Yes. Then we also, we did go through the interviews for the Regional Juvenile Center Director, and as we know, we approved that recommendation this morning. We'd had, on last Thursday, we had the West Central Regional Juvenile Center update, and the group of 11 counties got to see a preliminary look at the work that's being done on the expansion project. We reviewed the 2018 budget and the new cooperative service agreement that's going to, there's one that takes effect in 18 and then again another one for 19. So we just kind of went over that again with all of our members to make sure they were understood those agreements. And then we came up with the county budget percentages for 2019. Josh will be supplying those with, or James will be supplying, James and Josh together, I suppose, will be supplying those numbers to us during the formal process of the budgeting process. Then we had a construction managers meeting on Friday for both the juvenile center and the correctional facility and LAC. And you know, as we know, the LAC now is turned over to the county, and the jail is, or law enforcement center, or correctional facility is coming along very nicely, and a lot of people will get an opportunity to see that today, is what we've been talking about. That concludes my reports.
Thank you. Commissioner Haney?
On Tuesday, I attended the Adult Mental Health Local Advisory Committee meeting, and we had reports from the various providers. Grants have been applied for mental health needs, and the chronic shortage of psychiatrists was also discussed. On Thursday, along with Commissioner Mojo, I attended the MetroCog Policy Board, and there was a large discussion about the branding of the MetroCog, and it was thought that maybe there was some good things to be gained by changing the actual logo and going away from the sprockets and the cogs, and going to tout MetroCog as a regional planning and governing board rather than having anything to do with mechanical type things. And then yesterday, of course, we all attended the public relations event over at the 2 facilities and tours yesterday. And that was very enlightening, and that's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Gross.
Last Wednesday, when the Historical Society just discussed a lot of the things that are happening over there or going to happen during the summer. Tonight, they're going to have some Scandinavian presentation, and also the honor flight will be there also tonight, showing what they're doing. Other than that, it was just routine stuff there. Yesterday morning, had an audit on the Partnership for Health that we'll discuss later on. And then again, I was at the tour yesterday at the Law Enforcement Center. That was
Great. Commissioner Whelan?
Yep, I was there yesterday also for the media tours and, some events there. Had the detention director interviews last week, detention advisory, and some jail construction meetings, so that was it for me.
Thank you. Last week I attended the Planning Commission. There was one item, conditional use request for the change of to a classification in a non-conforming use that was passed, a building on Highway 75 that was reclassified to hold a commercial daycare. It was the first meeting where Ben Olson from Hometown Planning was running it. I felt it went very smooth. I think there are some issues, a learning curve that he'll continue to work on. The following day, I did have a conversation with him and Highway just to make sure that we had the new permit for access management clarified, so that went well. MetroCog, it was the first meeting where the new director, Cindy Gray, was present, as well as what Commissioner Haney had said. She's going to be a great asset there. I'm really excited to see what they continue to do there. Yesterday, I attended the Lakeland Mental Health meeting, and it's in Detroit Lakes, and it is interesting to note where we were having access times, wait lists up to 35 days for people to get a psychiatrist appointment in Moorhead. We've now, because they've added some staff time, that's gone down to less than 4, so that is a really good thing. But the challenge continues to exist in terms of recruiting. We always talk about if we could add a $5,000 student loan program to kind of help entice someone. We did find out that we are, while it's a 6-figure job, we are 6 figures less than what Sanford can offer, and so it's challenging to recruit when you face that. So they're doing a great job there. And I also attended the tours at the Law Enforcement Center yesterday.
Tours?
Mr. Berg.
Got to get one last shot in there, don't you, Madam Chair? Well, thank you.
Yes.
We had I'll call it an event planning meeting after the last board meeting last Tuesday, and then interviews for the Juvenile Detention Director Center on Wednesday. I was out at Highway Wednesday around noon. I guess they had their quarterly meeting, and I want to thank them for inviting me out. That was very nice of them. I sat in on a final police interview last Thursday morning with the city manager and a couple of the city council personnel. Had a meeting with Nick from Construction Engineers, and Steve sat in on that with me as well. Yesterday was, I guess you could call it, full of meetings where we were working on finishing touches for the ribbon cutting today, and I guess with that, that's my last meeting, and just want to again take an opportunity to thank you folks for all of your support and goodwill over the last 8 years. It's been really fun. It really has. So thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is also Jenny's last meeting. Jenny, thank you so much for everything that you've guided us and helped us with over the years. We have some for you, but we wish you the best.
Thank you.
Yes.
Home pretty.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you to everyone. I am very humbled and very happy to have had this experience, so thank you. Sorry, it's an emotional day, but it's a very happy day, so thank you very much. It's been a pleasure and what an opportunity, so thank you.
Thank you. As Brian noted, this is also his last meeting, and if you know Brian, he works in years of 8. It's crazy how he gets the 8-year itch, I would guess. But it really has been an honor to work with you, and while I've only been able to share a small amount of that time, it was really fun to get to know you. And I'm really excited for you and this new venture in life, and I know that you'll go do great things, obviously. I think Barb might get tired of you, but the board also got you a gift as well. And that played out. Brian, we'd like to present you with this plaque in grateful recognition for the 8 years of service that you dedicated to the county, its citizens, and the board. Thank you very much.
Well, that's very good. State of Minnesota, that's pretty nice.
Anything else?
You know, I've been on this for 6 years now, and I've been chairman, and all different people have been chairman and stuff like this. But I think we all know who's been running this place. You know, we sit up here, we run these meetings and stuff like that. So I thought before we adjourn, I think the final adjournment, you know, should be made. You know, I've got this in recognition of exemplary leadership, Brian Burke, 2010 to 2018. You know, leaders are like eagles; they don't come in flocks; they just show up every so often. That was like.
Thanks for a hard-headed journey.
Anything else?
Brian, the gavel.
Brian.
Oh, gosh. Oh, I don't want to dent this. Department heads to work with, and I think the departments realize the kind of board because they hear it all the time. You know, sure, we probably will whine once in a while, but I'll tell you, just 98% of the time, it's just praise to our county board. They are so terrific to work with. They just iron out everything and really work well together. That makes it easy for us, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Sure.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yes, it does.
Yes, sir.